Welcome to Leaving Nothing to Chance, your go-to podcast where we bring you insights from some of the most influential voices in small business and personal development. Each week, we dive deep into conversations with top thought leaders, authors, and business moguls from around the world, sharing their secrets to success and strategies for growth. Tune in for exclusive content that will inspire, motivate, and equip you to take your journey to the next level. This is Leaving Nothing to Chance.
How are you, my friend Ali? It's so good to see you again.
John, great. Thank you for having me again, man. This is awesome.
You have just been such a busy lady the last few months, and I've been watching you on Facebook, and you're here, you're there, you're speaking here, you're teaching this, you're doing that, you're launching brands, you're putting together your own company. You just doing some remarkable things with CMG Digital. So tell us a little bit about the company and what it does.
Oh, John, thank you. It's definitely something that's new. A lot of people still don't really understand the concept, but podcasting itself is a marketing tool. When you get podcast guests, they're going into your circle of influence. And I think we all should get paid for podcasting because we're bringing people into a new set of eyes. So when I started the podcast, I realized, wait a second, like I don't have to be monetized on YouTube to start making money podcasting. Once you do that, you have to start at least monetizing it your own way. The only way to do it is to be an entity, a company. So what I started doing is started the company as a podcast, but I got pitches from other media sources because they saw it was a company, and they started pitching me to big people, like important people in the media. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do more. I'm going to do marketing, and then I'm also going to find them leads. So we do marketing, advertising globally, and then we try to find them leads. Whenever it's a startup, it's an entrepreneur, we try to get them some kind of value.
Great, great. And you're absolutely right. This channel of broadcasting, if you will, or media, it's growing so exponentially. I have the same thing. People every week saying, should I start a podcast? My answer is
Yes.
yes. And understand it is a time commitment and it is a commitment and you have to do it consistently. You can't do one every 4 months if you want to have
Right.
any kind of audience. But you're doing a great job with that. And let's talk about women entrepreneurship for a minute, because like in my industry, network marketing, I don't know the actual numbers. I don't know that anybody really does, but it's about 82%, if I follow the numbers. The more successful people happen to be female. What is it that makes a female entrepreneur?
That's a great question. I'm still trying to find out myself because there's not a lot of us. There's not a lot of women that are predominantly on top of that 1%. I think you have to have a lot of grit, and a lot of women take things personal. In business, it's really hard right now at the moment to do business with women because they think it's all about, I want it to be easy and I want it to be fun. And business sometimes is not fun. It's the most boringest thing you can do. You got to be very repetitive. So I think women need to just start thinking like a man, but act like a woman. Start matching that energy, and then you'll get there faster. If you're weak minded, it's not going to happen. Like you have to have a strong mindset as a woman.
Do you think women do better in business sometimes than men because they're more nurturing? Men, it's cut and dry a lot of times. And some women could be that way, but it seems like women will coach and stick with somebody as long as they're trying longer than a guy who just says, you're not getting the job done.
Yes, I agree on that part. Definitely the nurturing part. But then when it comes to the execution of maybe the sales part or starting the company, a lot of them say, you know what, I just want to do the coaching part. And they're good at that. And I love that. But when it's time, like I said, to do business, I really haven't found right now yet somebody that I can partner with my company that has that same kind of drive because they want to keep it very, like I said, nurturing, very easy going. And sometimes it's not easy, John. Like whenever you're starting something from scratch, you have to put yourself out there.
Now, you've been a real estate mogul for a number of years. I know you've got
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
investments there in the San Antonio market. Tell everybody about your real estate brand.
So I started off just buying little properties with my partner. He's an accountant. We grew up in a little neighborhood. And once we grew up and moved out, I said those houses are becoming cheaper because the parents are leaving or the owners are leaving and their kids are taking over. We should start buying them. We know them for a long time. So they all sold and they moved to another area. So we started doing the Airbnb model. And I started purchasing houses near the downtown area, which is now being gentrified. So it's super awesome because I always have people there. and it's a fast rent market. So I love it. I've been living from it since I was 29.
And I noticed too that I know you're working with a friend of mine for many years with a personal care line. Tell everybody about that because that's something else that you've launched that looks like it's got a lot of promise.
Yes, the skincare industry is definitely it's successful for sure. And this is something new. I've never sold skincare, so I'm learning how to do it too, but I love it. You get to meet people from all over the world, you get to make money, and hey, you I also get products.
Can't beat that. And I noticed too that you're working with Wharton. I don't know when you sleep, by the way. Did you sleep at all, or are you up 24 hours a day
Oh, for what?
for sleeping? You ever get a chance to sleep because you have so many different things going on?
Yes, I actually sleep a lot. I sleep like 9 hours sometimes. I keep things very normal. I don't wake up too early, not too late. With Wharton, they recognize our podcast. So I always tell people that because that's huge. Wharton is the biggest business school probably in the world right now, I think. It's like for them to reach out and said, hey, we listen, we're listening, we're showing these podcast episodes to our students. That's awesome. So it's important to have that in mind. We talk about entrepreneurship, business. We say it how it is, John. Like we don't sugarcoat anything about business. And school's great, but sometimes you learn things out of school as well.
It's that the school of hard knocks, right? Is the ultimate school, right? It's yeah, yeah. I know you can show somebody to do something, but until they go out, and I've always used an analogy because my other background was sports, contact sports. And sometimes you got to get your nose bloodied. Like I can tell you all day what's going to happen, but until you go out and have somebody tell you no,
Yep.
or slam a door, or literally slam a door in your face and say, "Get off my property! I'm going to shoot you."
Exactly.
Especially here in Texas. Until that happens a few times, you can read all the books you want, but it becomes a little more real.
Yep, it happens. And we just had also the DreamWorks VP, 20th Century Fox from LA. That was cool too. He pitched to me. I was like, how did you find me? He's, I heard your podcast on Spotify. I said, okay. I thought that was cool.
Tell us a little bit more about that. I saw that on your show. Tell everybody about that. That's
Yeah, yeah.
you
So
got Wharton, you got DreamWorks. Tell everybody that is humongous.
I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to believe because when you're doing things out of your own talent, you do it with ease. And then you get freaked out when you're like, wait, why are these people contacting me? You're like, am I good enough? Sometimes you can get imposter syndrome. But when I see their messages, their emails, I respond to them and they're like, let's get on a call. And it makes us look really good. So I think that's cool. They're listening to me in LA.
Great. Not bad. Stupid question. Are you doing your show in Spanish also?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing your show in Spanish as well as English now?
No, I'm just doing just one English.
Just in English. Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed too that the Chicago Women's Entrepreneur Show, I hope I have that right. If not, I apologize to the that together, but I noticed that they've asked you to come up and be a speaker. And when is that show? And how do people in the Chicago area find out about it?
Yeah, so it's going to be in December the 5th. I'm going to fly out and really be there in person and get to meet global entrepreneurs, women from all over the world that have companies, businesses, and finally I'm going to be on a global stage. I think that's awesome. I like to get outside of my state. I Texas is great, but you need to see what's out there. And every time I get out of Texas, I find better opportunities.
Yeah, it is amazing. I did the same thing last week with the Fit Expo and just met a whole bunch of different people, podcasters, doctors, entrepreneurs, just a whole different set of people. But yeah, you do. You can't always stay in one place, that's for sure.
Yes.
How do you stay ethical in this day of AI? You and I were talking about that before. You have a great perspective on that.
Yeah, so AI, it's going to be a great way to do business. But there's also going to be a downfall, which is how do we stay ethical when anything can just be AI? And I think it's having a face to the company. So if a founder is always on social media talking about their company and they're like, hey guys, yes, we do have a team with AI, building the structures to it, you still have to show up. You still have to connect with your customers. You still have to do that because that's what ethic is, showing a face behind subscriptions, who's running this company. Like Elon, we trust the guy because we know where he lives. Now he's in Texas. He lives right by SpaceX. We know what he's doing and we have that trust. So that's how you keep ethics, to have that customer interaction, regardless of the systems that you have.
You mentioned Elon. I was in Anaheim last week, and there's a restaurant apparently that's been started somewhere in that area. And a couple of the guys that I actually interviewed, the one fella on Thursday that went to the restaurant. and it's all robots, 100%. So my question, Ali, is this: how do people who maybe are in industries or jobs that may be replaced realistically by robots over the next whatever period of time, how do they start to reinvent themselves to be ahead of that curve so they don't get blindsided and say, we got no more job, no more income? What should they do?
Start finding out what they're good at outside of what's your talent. A lot of people love cutting grass, they like doing house stuff. Start a business, start a digital business, but also with something that you can help people. Real estate's always going to be around. People are always going to need like plumbers, electricians. Stay with boring business, but add digital to it. Market digitally. I think this is the time showing us that we need to start being entrepreneurs because companies are not going to last forever. The last generation, they taught us that stay in school, go to work, stay 30 years somewhere, and hopefully you have time to retire. But nowadays, that's not going to work. So I think people should start realizing, like, how can I start a business now before it all fully kicks in and everybody gets replaced? Not everyone's going to get replaced, but a lot of the service, like cashiers, like you said, the restaurant was fully automated. Those jobs are going to go. But I think it's time to start doing our own thing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, obviously. And go through some of the steps, though. Let's say somebody right now is a Uber driver, for
Okay.
example, and that's going to be replaced. Realistically, between the automated cars, it's going to be replaced. Some places, I think Vegas, they've already started it.
Yeah.
And of course, Vegas, they start a lot of things. What was that commercial? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But
Exactly.
I don't think that one's going to stay in Vegas. I think that one's going to spread, obviously, for a lot of reasons. But so there's somebody out there right now, they're driving Uber, or they're working in a factory, or they're doing whatever. And they're going, gee, the handwriting is on the wall. Within the next 18 to 36 months, I'm going to be obsolete. What are a couple of steps that they should start to take now while they're still employed, while they still have income coming in to prepare themselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really think they should start looking at what can I do right now that is needed in my neighborhood that I can make money like fast, like in that per project. They should say, hey, what do I like to do? Do I like to paint? Something that is needed. They should look at something that is needed outside of what they do. And if they do already do delivery, hey, how can I maybe start my own clients and maybe just do their own personal delivery somewhere and just start charging them directly? You can also copy what your job does and do it yourself since you already have experience. And second of all, is have a social media presence. Everybody got to have at least a Facebook. Start getting interacting with your friends, with your people, and saying, hey guys, I'm working as a truck driver. I'm working, but you know what? I'm looking to start a business. Does anyone have any ideas? Start getting brainstorming. And also know accountants, know how you're going to manage your money. So if you're going to leave your job and you know you're going to get a pension, something out of it, learn how to start investing it right away. Like, can I buy some real estate with it right now? Can I invest in another company? Startups right now are like, hey, we have a perfect idea. It's going to work. We just need maybe like some kind of funding, but you're going to be rich from this. But we need to make sure that it's actually going to cash flow. You can start investing in companies. But the average person sometimes doesn't think that. So it's hard at first. But I think they should really begin with their community, what their community is needing.
That's good. It's funny you say I had lunch with a friend of mine and his wife yesterday, and their son just graduated high school,
Oh,
and he wants to become an electrician. And the community college here has a program, but I guess I did his paperwork late, so I didn't get in. So I said, my family in New Jersey were all electricians. So I said, hey,
okay.
you contact the IBW, okay, see if they're taking people here. They
Yep.
are, they'll educate you, they'll pay
Yeah.
you, and they'll educate you because electricians aren't going to be replaced by AI.
Yes.
That doesn't mean AI won't be used in electrical work. It probably already is being, but the person doing, to your point, the
Yeah.
electrician, the plumber, the carpenter, the roofer, those things, at least in the foreseeable future, those jobs are not going to be replaced. Nothing wrong with getting dirty every day and making a good living doing it.
Exactly. At first, maybe you're not gonna like it, and you're like, I didn't like it, but I made some money. What else can I do? Is something digital? Do I have to start maybe getting an AI like certification where I can manage AI for other people? Like, you got to try things, John. I think a lot of people stay stuck in one idea. You have to try. That's what I did. If something didn't happen for me, I said, why didn't it work? Oh, it was the wrong timing. The market wasn't ready. People really didn't need that service. And then out of nowhere, it shifts to something else because I changed my mind about it, and then it happens. So you got to try. You got to try different things.
Got a real estate question for you. So I know the big argument's been taking place between the White House and
Oh
Pat
yeah.
interest rates, right? So if interest rates do get cut, what do you see happening in the real estate market, both across the board and here in Texas?
I think people, the landlords are the ones that are going to win. Unfortunately, the next wave of buyers, they're going to be renters, John. No one's going to want to buy a house anymore. And the market is going to stay still. Like buyers are not going to be buying, sellers are going to be like, I'm going to hold on for the next probably maybe decade. It can go all the way to a decade. And the rest are just going to rent. And the ones that are going to get more wealth with equity are the ones that already purchased the last 3 years.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, because I wonder, you guys, sometimes interest rates drop, nothing happens. Sometimes they drop, everything goes crazy. And it's somebody asked me the other day, and I said, honestly, I said, I have an expert in real estate that I'm going to be interviewing. Whoop, there you go.
Good thought. Sorry.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. You are a natural leader. Everything you do, you lead in.
Thank you.
And I look at your posts almost daily. You're like on my list of podcasters to check. And which should be a compliment, by the way, because I've interviewed 280 of them now. So yours is one of the ones I actually say. I know Allie's always post. Some of them they post, I don't know, when they feel like it. But anyway, but you're always doing something. You've always got something, and you're always taking on the mantle of leadership, which I have tremendous respect for
Thank you.
anyone who does that. But what makes a great leader?
I think accountability. I've seen a lot of leaders that are very egotistic and they don't like taking accountability. I don't know it all. I just know how to lead, how to find something that's going to work in the future. I think to be a great leader, you have to take accountability and you have to make sure that you're putting in more work than everybody else. I don't believe when people say, you shouldn't work that much. No, you should work more than your team. You should be up first before your team. You should already have a solution like, hey guys, we didn't sell this. Maybe we need to try something else. I worked on something. What do you guys think? So I have a team in the Philippines that helps me. And instead of telling them, hey, you need to do this, no, I tell them, what do you think? Does that work for you? Is that a lot or can you handle it? And if they say it's something that I need to fix, okay, I always want feedback from them. A leader should always be taking feedback.
Great. Yeah. You know what? I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, because I don't know it all. A lot of people tell me that I'm very direct, but I have to be because I don't know, small talk is hard for me, John. I'm not gonna lie. I go right to the point and people tell me you need to be more talkative with people. I'm like, I am. It's just I'm always about business and I'm always on.
I don't know why you and I get along so well because I think we're cut from the same mold. Yeah, small talk, I got no time for it. Hey, there's too much going on in the world. Too
Yeah,
many opportunities to talk about the weather.
exactly.
What are you going to do about it anyway?
Exactly.
Exactly. Hey, let me ask you this. I'd love people to know about your show because I believe you are the current generation and the future generation of leadership and podcasting. So tell them all about your show and how they can get on it, listen to it, follow it, etc.
Yeah, right now Spotify is the big one because we're really getting noticed on Spotify. We're on Apple Music, Amazon Music. Our YouTube, we're not really working on it because I'm actually working on the Roku channel that's going to launch sometime next year. But we interview CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners who started from scratch, who just said, hey, I used to be an accountant or I used to work in corporate and I realized I can start my own company. And they became millionaires. And then after they became millionaires, now they're like, I'm now mentoring other people. So I like hearing stories from like the underdog that started a company and won, the person that just didn't have it all. Because I talk to trust fund people, they're awesome. But I'm like, okay, you already had some kind of pathway already for you. All you have to do is show up. And for a lot of us, we don't have that. So you got to build your own trust fund.
You know, you used a great term there, bootstrap.
Yes.
And describe bootstrapping because you have. I've listened to some of the shows you've done with people that just started with not a whole lot of money,
Mm,
but now they're successful. And now everybody probably looks and goes, "Oh, you're successful. Of course, it's easy for you." Yeah, they forget when the guy was living on beans like Walt Disney was. And by the way, great story on that. I got to tell you this. So I interviewed this guy Dennis Henson a few months ago, and Dennis is an author, he's a real estate guy too in Arlington, Texas. And he told me the story about how Walt Disney created Mickey Mouse.
oh, okay.
It's a great story. He was down on his luck. He had gone broke. Numerous times Walt Disney had gone broke. And he's living, I think it was in Kansas City at the time. And he's literally eating beans every day because it's all he could afford. So he has a can of beans. He's got one bean left in it. And here comes this mouse and crawls in there and eats the one last bean. So at first he's thinking, I'll kill the mouse. And he's thinking, the mouse is hungry. Why am I going to kill the mouse? And then all of a sudden, like the next day, the same thing happens. He starts to develop a relationship with this mouse. And he says, I'm going to give this mouse a name. So he calls him Mortimer the Mouse. So finally, things start to turn financially. And he's with his wife one day and he says, hey, I've got these, shows her all these pictures that he's drawn of this mouse. And she says, everything's great, Walt, except one thing. That's a horrendous name. Mortimer is not a great name for a mouse. So there's where Mickey came from. So having been around Disney last week and watching all the people, including adults, walking around with the mouse, it all started with the mouse. But to your point, he bootstrapped his entire life to develop that company, right?
Yep.
Ray Kroc with McDonald's did the same. Sam Walton with Walt. You go through it. Mary Kay Ash here in Dallas with Mary Kay. You go through all these great entrepreneurs. Most of them didn't start with much, but they started with a dream and a work ethic like you have, where it's like, hey, if I got to work 24/7, I will. I'll prefer to work 18/7, but I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And anyway, back to that a little bit. The bootstrapping concept.
Yeah. I like I said, it's awesome. I think the people that have had the saddest stories actually become the best business leaders. Because I think I saw it on TikTok, a podcast. There was someone that made a study that CEOs that are the best actually have a really bad childhood. Either their parents were abusive, something happened. And I can relate to that a little bit, not for the abuse, but because I'm the oldest. So I was held at a high standard. And my dad was always like, you need to do it right. Don't half-ass stuff. Just get it done. And I think that's why I became like a perfectionist. And I don't know if you're in the mental space, you're probably like, oh, that's the trauma response. But no, I just think it's a good leadership thing. My dad always told me, like, you have to show up and do it all the way. Don't scam people. Try to sell them something that's going to work for them, and don't just steal their money. Like, we're not here for that. And John, I'm not going to lie, a good percentage of the podcast people I brought in, I had to just cancel because I realized that their business models were just about fake things.
Yeah.
These coaches are awesome, but unless they're like seasoned for 20 years, I'll listen to them. But if it's somebody that was like, you could tell they just work in corporate and that's it, I'm just like, do you really know what's out there though? Have you door knocked before? I don't understand your concept.
We are cut from the same cloth because I'm the same way. If you haven't actually done it, don't try to teach it.
Exactly.
Because the problem is the people who have done it in your profession. And I see this in network marketing. I see all of these coaches running around. I'm like, show me a check with your name for $10,000 from a company right now.
Exactly.
Oh, I had one 27 years ago. No, show me one today because the world's changed today. For example, I'd love your response to this. And I'll just use this in terms of my business just to keep it simple. When I started, it was talking to people and tear tag flyers. You'd go to Kinko's and you get these flyers printed and they had little tabs on the bottom with your phone number and people
Take it off.
them off. Exactly. And I would hang them in phone booths, cigarette machines, wherever I could hang these things.
Yeah.
Then, of course, that evolved. And all of a sudden, cassette tapes come along. Wow, you can have a presentation on a cassette tape and you can mail that to somebody or hand it to somebody. Terrific. And then a few years later, the DVDs came along and so on. And today we got podcasting, we got AI, we've got clip farming, we've got clipping, we've got all of these technologies.
Social media.
Right. We got all this stuff that's amazing. And then I hear somebody want to tell me that they're building their business just talking to people. I'm like, no, you might be talking to people. I don't doubt you're talking to people. But how are you getting in front of audiences large enough?
Yeah.
I don't mean large in terms of, I'm talking 100 people at a time, but how are you finding enough people if you're not using today's technology?
Yep.
Then you're not telling the truth. You're telling something just to bilk somebody out of their money that's going to try it and probably not succeed. Like you got to have the battle scars. Otherwise, don't be teaching, just be doing.
And I think our generation, John, the millennials, we're actually cleaning stuff out a little bit because I see it a little bit. Like millennials ask questions like, wait, why is this? And if you're teaching this, why would anybody that makes a lot of money, teach you a secret that they know? They'll never teach you their secrets. And I'm not going to lie, there are some like Tony Robbins, everybody that we know, they did build from scratch and we believe it because we saw it. But I get these people that are maybe early 40s. They're like, I'll teach you how to make 30,000 in a month. I'm like, who are you stealing from? Are you stealing from banks? I'm not saying that's impossible. You can make it, but you have to put yourself like you have to have so many people helping you to make that money. I'm
Exactly.
like 30,000 a month. I'm like, dang, like I'm just surprised because I've known people that haven't made that in a while. I'm just like, okay, I already know you're lying.
There's an old saying of theory versus application.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people in theory have good. Look, you and I are both smart people. We could look at anything and say, hey, here's how probably you're going to market it.
yep,
But unless you've actually done the work to market it, you're theorizing it, right, for somebody. And by the way, if in the conversation you say, hey, listen, I never sold that kind of widget. So that
exactly.
being the case, I'm not sure. But here's what I think based on all my other
Right,
knowledge. But until you do it, you don't really know. And then, hey, and then I tell people, hey, you know what? Try it. Try what we're talking about. And then let's come back and refine it because maybe there's a better way to do it. But you're going to figure that out by doing it, by getting your proverbial nose bloodied. You're going to figure it out a whole lot better than I can theorizing it.
exactly, exactly. And we need to also hold people accountable in the sense of like, whenever I get people that are coaches that they teach you all these courses, I tell them you should be on Forbes magazine. You should be on some kind of article where you're showing that you're doing this, but you're not. So I can't believe you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give you my money.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point in network marketing where we just kind of laugh at most of these people. It's like they
Yeah,
they have their space. There's one guy in particular who's never built a downline. He's got a big following, and I'm like, ask him what company he's built. Because I know he's never built one. I've been doing this
exactly.
42 years. Tell me the company that he says he built, and I'll call somebody in that company to edify him. Okay. And
Yep.
once again, the guy's got some good ideas. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It really just comes down to have you actually done it? And look, you can be a great coach. Bill Belichick was a great coach. He wasn't a heck of a ball player.
Yeah.
Okay, but people forget he was an assistant coach in college. His
Right.
father was a head coach, I think a head coach at the Naval Academy. He grew up as a coach. He had
Yeah.
every book on coaching ever written. Then he worked
Oh, okay.
then he worked for Bill Parcells, okay, with the
Wow.
Giants. And then eventually did what he did. So you don't have to have done it to be really effective at it. But gee, if a guy studied it for 30 years, has been around it, okay, great. I'm gonna at least listen to what they have to say because they probably have a good idea. But if you're doing it for 15 minutes, don't tell me you're gonna charge me for your advice because what advice am I paying for? And I think that's what
Exactly.
I don't mean I don't mean to
Exactly.
ramble on it, but you touched a nerve.
No, and then to top it off, just to wrap that up, it's not even cheap either. Like they charge Tony Robbins prices. I'm like, no, bye.
Exactly, exactly. And people forget Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is at a different level, but Tony Robbins didn't get there overnight either.
Exactly.
He'd be the
It
first to
took him
tell
like
you that.
20 years.
Exactly, exactly. And he'd be the first to say, without Jim Rohn in those early years, guiding him, teaching him, and
Yep.
most of those concepts came from Jim Rohn. Anyway, just in wrapping up, you got a busy fall coming up. You're speaking at seminars, you're doing seminars, you're building your real estate mogulism. I'm not sure that's a word or not, but I'm going to use it. It's mogulism.
Yeah.
Hey, we can invent words. We're podcasters. And of course, now you're working in the personal care space as well. And my friend Leslie teaching you some stuff because she's really good.
Yes. We always have Zoom meetings and I join in and we're always talking. And like I said, this is a new space for me. I've never sold skincare like that before, but they have all the secrets and all the tools for Neora. They really do.
Yep, yep. And what else are you doing? That seems like enough for one human being, but what else you got going on? What else coming up this fall that we need to know about?
So I'm also gonna relocate to permanently to LA. It's
Oh,
just an amazing place to be right now for what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna have a second hub just in Texas, but I'm gonna probably move everything to LA soon. And I'm just getting a lot of offers. And I don't know, I just think it's awesome. I love Texas, John, but the weather already, yeah. I'm tired of the heat. So LA is gonna be my home in the next years or so.
nice, nice. You know what? I was just out there and it was nice. At night, it got down to 60 degrees. The second the sun went down, I was like, it is expensive. I get that. But on the other hand, it's 60 and it was 117 here in Dallas.
Yeah, and I think it's cool because since I own real estate, co-own it, it pays for my apartment or studio, so I'll be living for free basically. I live very the rents pay for my living kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Great, Ali. It's always a privilege, my friend. And I want to do this with you every few months because you're one of the entrepreneurs on the move that I've interviewed before and gotten to know. And I got such great respect for everything that you're doing. And like I said, I watch you not every day. No, I'm not stalking you. Don't worry. It's like,
Oh, no worries.
every day I go, hey, what's Allie doing? I got a few others too that don't know that I'm stalking them, but I'm really not. I just follow them because you are a huge influencer. Your career has already been amazing. But what you're going to do over the next 30, 40 years is going to be phenomenal. I would not be surprised to see you be the first female president of the United States.
I wish.
I wouldn't doubt it. You got the charisma and the skills, my friend. But yeah, politics, that's a dirty business. I don't know. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing entrepreneur-wise. You're going to help a lot more people.
Yeah, and you know what? I hope to be the first official multimillionaire in my family when it comes to businesses and entrepreneurship things, because I'll be the first one to walk that door. So I'm just like, wow.
Great. I have no doubt. Thanks so much, Allie.
Thank you. If you can, send me some clips or something. I'm happy to promote it too.
Will do. Will do.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check back weekly for more exciting episodes. And don't miss Ink and Insight every Wednesday, where we celebrate iconic authors and dive into their impactful works.